Hello and welcome to the Peter Halloran podcast, episode 6. So, on today's podcast, I will be giving you a discount code for any of the PPT Nutrition products. So, have a listen out. It will be at any stage throughout the podcast. Good one for you today. Today, I want to talk about fat loss products that are flooding social media and the internet. I'm going to explain to you why these products don't work and some of the hidden dangers behind a lot of them. A lot of fat loss products have been sent to me on DMs on Instagram and Facebook, and I've done a lot of videos on a lot of these products. But if you find any crazy fat loss products that you want me to have a look at, please send them on. A little side note for any of the companies that I mentioned here and you would like to sue me, I've had legal representation look over my findings, and because they're all true, factual, and in a public domain, you have a better chance of suing Jesus. Now, if you'd like to make a complaint, please, by all means, send an email to peter@goforyourself.com. Now, before I get into all these products, there's one thing that everyone needs to understand before we go forward, and that is, for fat loss, the first law of thermodynamics apply. If you are in a calorie surplus, so you're eating more than you are burning, you will store fat. And if you are in a calorie deficit, so you are burning more than you are taking in, you will drop fat. This is a fundamental law. Anyone claiming otherwise needs to be studied in great detail because they're defying the laws of science. Every single fat loss product that will hit the market won't work unless you're in a calorie deficit. And you will see what I mean as we go through the products. So, let's start. The first product I want to talk about, you would have seen all over social media with celebrities promoting this new magical weight loss injection called Skinny Jab. Skinny Jab. Now, first off, the name Skinny Jab, it's a terrible name to use because it sets out the expectation that people who use it will suddenly become skinny, which is just not the case. The name skinny in Skinny Jab also sort of implies that everyone should be skinny, which can have a negative effect on someone's mental well-being. I can guarantee you the majority of people who use Skinny Jab have no idea what they're actually injecting into their body. So, let's delve into the science behind it. The drug used in Skinny Jab is a drug called liraglutide, also sold under the brand name Victoza, and it's a medication used to treat type 2 diabetes. And it's funny how it's getting so much press lately as the new miracle weight loss drug when it's been around for so long. It was approved for medical use in Europe in 2009 and in the United States in 2010. It started out as a drug that was developed to treat diabetes at low doses, but later they found out that when the dose was increased, the drug suppressed hunger. Now, a lot of drugs were created for one thing and then used for something else later on when they found out that it does other things, like Viagra, for example. It was created as a drug for the heart and then ended up as a drug for your... Now, this product concerns because you're injecting a drug that was designed for type 2 diabetics into your body, which makes your pancreas release more insulin. So you're taking a medication that interferes with your pancreas. Surely there will be consequences in the end. But I am not a doctor, and I'm always giving out about people staying in their own lanes. And I'm not a doctor, so I can't say what this drug will do. So I had a chat with a doctor. One of the questions I asked the doctor is, I asked him if there is a risk from using a medication that makes your pancreas release more insulin or interferes with the function of your pancreas in any way or have any negative effects on the pancreas. The doctor told me that using medication that interferes with the pancreas can cause pancreatitis. And pancreatitis is an inflammation of the pancreas. Now, I did some research and found that at least 13 cases of acute pancreatitis due to liraglutide have been reported, and it is a potential complication and should be used cautiously. I also found out that using the drug has been associated with an increased risk of pancreatic cancer. Oh, sign me up. Secondly, the doctor told me that the HbA hemoglobin needs to be monitored because liraglutide reduces glycated hemoglobin within 6 months of initiating treatment. This will cause low blood sugar and hypoglycemia. This stuff sounds wonderful. The third issue the doctor pointed out is that it's only supposed to be prescribed to people with a BMI of over 30. This is not a big problem because I've seen online people with very low body fat using these injections. So there's a massive risk for anyone using it under a BMI of 30. And some Skinny Jab sites say they will consider people with a BMI of 25, which goes against the manufacturer's recommendations. So the question is, how does the drug make you lose weight? Well, at higher doses, the drug works by suppressing your appetite. Suppressing someone's appetite means they're eating less food, therefore in a calorie deficit, like I said earlier. Calorie deficit. Now, I know people have this idea in their head that they can take an injection and they're going to lose fat and that's all they have to do. Well, you couldn't be more wrong, because what they don't advertise much is that you have to follow their diet plan of 800 calories a day. 800 calories a day. I would eat 800 calories in one meal. Such a drastic drop in calories is ridiculous, and over time your body just won't be able to function properly at them calories. So basically what they're doing is making you go on an 800 calorie diet or starvation plan or the troker box diet, and then inject a drug that stops you feeling hungry. That's all well and good, but I'm pretty sure the majority of people who are taking the skinny jab have a BMR a lot higher than 800 calories. What I mean by BMR is every single human has a basal metabolic rate, or BMR. It's the minimum number of calories required for basic functions at rest. So basically the number of calories your body needs to function correctly sitting down or doing nothing. Let's look at this another way, right? Let's say we have a 25-year-old female who is 5 foot tall and weighs 8 stone, or what's that, 112 pounds. Her BMR would be roughly 1175 calories, so 1175 calories a day. So what that means is her body needs 1175 calories a day to function correctly. Now let's say we put her on the skinny jab diet and she is now eating 800 calories a day. That's 375 calories under her BMR. Now if you're eating such low calories and the body cannot keep up, what do you think happens to the body? It's going to slow down bodily functions to compensate. Your metabolic rate will lower, which means less energy, feeling dizzy, weak, being a downright grumpy fucker, walking around with a face like a slapped arse. You get my drift. Think about your body as a car. If you put less fuel in your car, you are not going to go the same distance. The next problem I have with it is, let's just say someone had the willpower to stick to the troker diet, the 800 calorie diet, and not kill anyone. They reach their goal weight, but their metabolic rate is so severely depressed, they can experience almost immediate weight gain if they resume their prior higher calorie intakes. That is why you always hear anybody who's done a crash diet that they've always put the weight back on, and sometimes more than what they started with. Reason being is the metabolic rate is lower, and now they're eating higher calories, so now they're eating more than they are burning, which will result in fat storage. The whole point of slow and steady diet is, number one, to change someone's lifestyle and habit around eating and their attitude towards food. And secondly, is to stop your metabolic rate from lowering, which can lead to rapid weight gain afterwards. I highly doubt Skinny Jab is going to teach you about nutrition or fix your relationship with food. Now, I had a look at skinnyjab.co.uk and I found a post where they're advising, as part of the diet, you need to cut out carbs. Now, this just boiled my piss because it feeds into the whole concept that carbs make you fat. That is not the case. Excessive calories make you store fat, not carbohydrates. And you will always see on social media the low carb groups or the low carb diets giving reviews like, "Oh, I lost 10 pounds in my first week." I'm sorry to bust your bubble there, but you didn't lose 10 pounds of fat. What you lost is water. Our muscles store fuel in the form of glycogen, and for every gram of glycogen stored in the muscles, your muscles retain 3 grams of water inside the muscle. So when you go on a grumpy fucker diet, low carb diet, you deplete the muscles of glycogen, which in turn make you shed stored water. Out of that 10 pounds of weight you lost last week, you could say about 9 pounds of that was water. People need to get rid of this whole concept that carbs are bad. Another thing they recommend on the website is to exercise along with the diet and injections. They said the best option is to go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. How on earth do you expect someone to go to the gym for 3 times a week, being fueled on 800 calories a day? Another piece of divine wisdom they offer on their website is to weigh yourself daily. Absolute fuckduggery. Weighing yourself every day is one of the worst things you can do, as your body fluctuates daily, and the only thing weighing yourself every day will do is cause an eating disorder. Now, let's look at some of the side effects of taking this drug that they don't tell you on the website. The most common side effect of the drug include headache, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, upset stomach, indigestion, loss of appetite, well, that's what you're taking it for, diarrhea, back pain, feeling tired, who the hell wouldn't feel tired on 800 calories, skin rash, upper respiratory tract infection, redness or rash where the medication was injected. More common side effects include low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, which will cause headache, sweating, irritability, fast heart rate, feeling anxious or shaky. The list goes on and on. The list of actual side effects is massive, and it goes on and continues to say a risk of thyroid cancer, renal impairment or renal failure, and a lot more. Some other frightening aspects that they do not tell you about on the website is the post-marketing reports. Now, these are reactions that have been reported after the approval of the medication. So once the medication was approved and then prescribed to people, these are reports that came in of medullary thyroid carcinoma, severe dehydration, vomiting, diarrhea, I suppose that's one way to lose weight, acute renal failure, worsening of chronic renal failure, allergic reactions, rashes, acute pancreatitis, sometimes resulting in death. Also, another worrying factor is during testing, a lot of patients were diagnosed with breast cancer, pancreatic cancer or thyroid cancer, so they have it listed down at the bottom as uncommon, but it's there. People need to put their thinking cap on here. Like, when you think about it, it's a drug that's designed to make your pancreas release more insulin. It's interfering with your pancreas when there is no need to. And interfering with your body's hormones when there's no need to is going to have sort of adverse effects on your body and or your pancreas. So what's the bottom line on Skinny Jab? It's medication that will do one thing and one thing alone. It will stop you from feeling hungry and wanting to kill everybody while eating an 800 calories a day diet. Risk versus reward factor does not play in its favor. You're getting one thing out of this, and that is to suppress your hunger. That's all. One thing. But yet you are subject to all these possible side effects and reactions. The injection is not burning fat. It just stops you from being hungry. The extreme calorie deficit is what's going to make you burn the fat. But this calorie deficit is extreme and should not be done. So how does Skinny Jab make you lose fat? Calorie deficit. Now, the next product I want to talk to you about is another one that was sent to me on Instagram, and a lot of you probably have seen it already. It looks like a ridiculous shower head, and it's called Weight Sonic, and it's apparently the revelation of the year. They say it sculpts your body using ultrasonic waves and infrared heat that encourages blood flow and melts fat. God give me strength. I'm going to tell you now, there is not one product known to man that can melt fat. Fat must be metabolized. It cannot be melted and absorbed back into the bloodstream like that. If that were possible, you would probably die with a load of gooey fat running through your bloodstream. Anyway, fat is stored energy, and energy cannot be destroyed or disappear. It can only be converted from one form of energy to another. Body fat cannot just simply melt and leave the body. It must go through a process. And without getting too much into it or confusing the life out of you, I'm going to give you a smaller broke down way of how it processes it. To obtain energy from fat, the fat cells are broken down, triglycerides, so on, through oxidation. Fatty acids are broken down and enter into the Krebs cycle, which is a long and complicated thing to explain, and you'd probably turn off the podcast if I did. They are then used to create ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which are basically energy carrying molecules. When our bodies use the energy, it creates a byproduct or a waste product, which leaves your body through the lungs as carbon dioxide. Yes, fat leaves your body through your lungs. In fact, over 80% of the fat used in our body leaves through the lungs, while other gases like hydrogen and oxygen that is released combine and create water, which stays in the body helping to regulate like your salt water balance and many other functions. There is no way apart from liposuction for fat to leave your body, just like there is no way for car emissions to leave a car except for the exhaust. So the next time you hear someone say that sweat is fat crying, don't be afraid to call them out on it. Sweat is nothing but water released by the body to help control body temperature. That is it. It is not fat. Now, I know I use a car as a reference a lot, but the car is a machine and so is our bodies. Your body is a biomechanical machine. For the fuel to leave your car, it must go through a process, goes into the engine where it is ignited to create energy which causes movement and excretes the waste product through the exhaust. Your body, to get rid of fat, must do the same thing. It must go through a process of releasing energy and excreting waste through the lungs. So please do not fall for any ridiculous product that says it melts fat. Now, another one sent to me over Instagram is a product which I've done a video on before, and it's called Sensa, or the Sprinkle Diet. This is hilarious. Now, I'm going to play a clip of their advertisement so you can have a listen.
Your Sensa, shake your Sensa.
Diets are hard, but Sensa's as easy as shake, eat, and lose weight.
I lost 67 pounds.
45 pounds.
62 pounds.
In one of the largest clinical studies of its kind ever conducted, 1,400 users lost an average of 30.5 pounds with Sensa. Visit Sensa.com today to find out how you can get started on your free.
The advertisements for these products are just hilarious, but people still fall for it. But you can't be harsh on the people who fall for it, because a lot of them are so desperate they will do anything or believe anything to try and lose weight, which is a pity. So what is Sensa? So Sensa is not a diet, it's a sachet of Sprinkle. They claim that you can eat your favorite food without counting calories, deprivation or cravings. You just sprinkle everything you eat with Sensa crystals and you lose weight. Sensa is intended to work with your sense of smell, fooling your brain and stomach into thinking you're full. The company claims that the powder also blocks up to 350 calories per meal. Wow, how did they come up with that number? It almost sounds too good to be true, because it is. The company's weight loss evidence is based on a few company-sponsored clinical, inverted commas, studies. Now, these are not to be confused with clinical trials, which would be set as the gold standard of research, but these studies have not been published in a peer-reviewed medical journal. This is just ridiculous. That's like me sitting at home and trying to think of some weight loss scam or product and come up with something like, did you know by licking the lime scale off your kettle twice a day will help you lose weight? I've done some clinical studies, but I'm not going to share them with you. Why won't they share them? Because they're bullshitting you. Not only that, but the Food and Drug Authority in the USA has strongly criticised the research provided about the product, and the Federal Trade Commission USA took action against Sensa because their ads were misleading. And in January 2014, Sensa agreed to pay $26.5 million to settle the FTC's charges. Bottom line, it's about as useful as a handbrake on a canoe. Now, just when you think that products can't get any worse, there comes along this one. The anti-cellulite shapewear. This company claimed that their shapewear and underwear would help consumers shed cellulite and pounds because their clothing is infused with micro-encapsulated caffeine that would slim and reshape the wearer's body and reduce cellulite. Seriously, like, you can't make this shit up. Coffee in your underpants. Why not, sure? I've had worse in my underwear. I'm not even going to entertain this because it's so ridiculous, and like the last product, the company was fined for making false and unsubstantiated claims and had to pay a fine of $1.3 million. Moving swiftly along, slimming creams or anti-cellulite creams. We would have seen a lot of these around online as well. They claim that you rub the cream on your body, it's absorbed and melts cellulite, which is impossible, but hey, the funniest one I've seen to date is a product from a company called Dream Doctor, and the product is called Shrinking Beauty. Now, I'm going to read to you exactly, word for word, what they say on their website. And they say, learn from the lobster. This sea creature knows exactly how to shrink a size effortlessly without going on a diet, or slimming and toning formulas mirror the ecdysteroid hormone lobsters produce to get skinny and wiggle free from their shells. Seriously, like, who comes up with this shit? We are not lobsters. Well, some humans have crabs, but we don't have a shell and we are not crustaceans. I'm going to tell you now that there is no cream on this planet that you can rub on your skin that will sink in and directly burn fat or cellulite. What they do is trick you into thinking they're working because one ingredient, and that is caffeine. When someone rubs the cream onto their body, caffeine is absorbed into the skin. The absorbed caffeine dehydrates your skin. Dehydrated cells are not able to absorb nutrients easily, and besides leading to dry skin, dehydration can also increase skin inflammation and a loss in collagen. The dehydrated skin firms up, so it gives the appearance of reduced cellulite, but only for a few hours, because once the cells become hydrated again, you're back to where you started. Now, these are not to be confused with creams that are supposed to help your skin and improve elasticity. I get a lot of questions from clients who are losing weight and are worried about the elasticity of their skin. So I put this question before to a dermatologist, and he said to improve the elasticity in your skin, use creams that contain hyaluronic acid. So there's a point from a dermatologist for you. But when it comes to creams burning fat or cellulite, it's absolute fuckduggery. Just like this next product, green coffee extract. Green coffee extract pills have been around for a long time, and one of the companies that was very misleading was a company called Applied Food Sciences, or AFS for short. Now, with a company name like Applied Food Sciences, you would think that they would have scientific backing for their products. But no. The AFS claim green coffee antioxidants cause consumers to lose 17.7 pounds, 10.5% of body weight, 16% of body fat, with or without diet and exercise in 22 weeks. These tablets got a lot of press and even made it onto the Dr. Oz show. Now, that doesn't impress me much because Dr. Oz would try and sell snow to an Eskimo, which is very annoying because people will believe anything he says because he has doctor in front of his name. But it seems like Dr. Oz knows as much about fat loss as a 2-year-old trying to understand the birds and the bees. And for the right money, he would probably just about promote anything. Now, making such claims as they did would need some investigation, which was done by the FTC in the USA and discovered nothing but lies and flawed studies. The study's lead investigator altered weights and other key measurements of subjects, changed the trial length, and misstated which subjects were taking the antioxidant or a placebo during the trials. The company was ordered to pay $3.5 million and to have scientific substantiation for any further weight loss claims it makes. Bottom line, they don't work, but as useful as a chocolate fireguard. And time for a word from our sponsor. That's right, I don't have a sponsor. But what I do have for you is a 10% discount code for any of the PPT Nutrition products on our website at pptnutrition.com. And your 10% discount code is podcast10. And back to the podcast.
Okay, so joining me on the phone for a chat is NHS Dr. Sarah Bailey. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi there, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate you having me on.
No problem at all. Look, I reached out to you because I wanted to get your point of view. When I recorded this podcast the last day, I know I said in it that I am not a doctor, which I'm not, and I always tell people to stay in their lanes, and it's not my qualification, I'm not a doctor. So what I wanted to get is a doctor's point of view on any of the weight loss products that I'm talking about. Now, I sent you all 3 products. So the first one, Skinny Jab. Now, my whole point about this thing was it's a type 2 diabetic medication. It's causing your pancreas to release more insulin when there's no need. So what is your input or what is your point of view on liraglutide or Skinny Jab?
Well, I think first let's start with the name. I think obviously this is coming from my personal perspective and is no reflection on my employers, etc., etc. But I think naming something Skinny Jab suggests that the end goal is to be skinny. And I think let's leave that in the 1990s. Come on, we're not there anymore. We're talking about health, we're talking about lifestyle medicine, and overall longevity of wellness, so a really healthy, long life. And I think the name that's the first problem, really. I think you make a good point as well. The medication was originally used as a medication that can aid type 2 diabetic patients. So NICE guidelines suggest that patients should be initially, if they are overweight, started on diet advice and exercise advice. That's the first point of call, first line treatment. The next step would be potentially adding in some form of psychotherapy to aid with that. And then the third step on is an adjunct, and that would be pharmacotherapy. And actually, with obesity, the first choice of pharmacotherapy isn't liraglutide, also known as Victoza and Saxenda, is actually a medication known as Orlistat. So going straight in with a skinny injection or product is kind of, you're skipping all the different things that your doctor would have actually done first. So that's the first thing to say. And also in the NICE guidelines, it suggests that the product, when you do get down to that point, is only for patients over a BMI of 25 and if they've got another comorbidity related with obesity. So that is perhaps obstructive sleep apnea, that's hypertension, type 2 diabetes, like we mentioned, or a BMI over 30, full stop.
Yeah.
But again, it's not a first line. So I think these products can be used, for me, in an NHS setting when it's monitored by your own doctor and your own doctor actually knows what's going on. Because as a GP trainee, the first thing I ask if I'm unsure about kind of the story with a patient is, okay, are you taking anything else over the counter, off the internet? And actually, would 100% of these patients tell me that they were taking this medication if they were coming in with tummy pain, abdominal pain, and I'm worried about pancreatitis, for instance, which is, like you say, one of the side effects. No, it's really difficult.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the other side of it as well, not only that, okay, fair enough, the other part, what they're using it for is to curb your hunger, but they're making you eat 800 calories a day. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. So regardless or not, if you take liraglutide, if you just dealt with the hunger, you're going to lose the same amount of weight eating them calories, but your metabolic rate is going to lower everything, all the negative side effects of that. But 800 calories a day, that's starvation. Like.
And do you know, it really upsets me because I really look up to a lot of the celebrities that have been involved in this, and I feel really sorry for them because I feel like they've been targeted as yo-yo dieters, and this is effectively a yo-yo diet, if not supported with your GP, your own medical profession, perhaps a personal trainer, psychological therapy. Without all this, you've effectively got a really bad product. Well, a good product because it works in the right circumstances, but a badly marketed product, marketed to the wrong people for the wrong reasons, and the primary reason is money making. And I think in the UK we're so lucky to have the NHS, and I just really hope this can kind of underline to people, like, please go to your doctor first, because they will advise what is right and wrong for you. And you don't necessarily, that's the thing, some people might have tried all these things and actually have type 2 diabetes and be able to get this product on the NHS if they are requiring it and they meet the criteria. So I'm baffled that these sort of people are having to go to such extremes to lose weight. It's such a shame because it is an emotive topic, but I think we have to be real with this and say it is a yo-yo diet fad again, but just in the media.
And the other side of it then as well is they're not helping you address any psychological issues you have with food.
Exactly, and it baffles me. It really, really does. But also, it doesn't surprise me because, like I say, it's an emotive topic. People really struggle to lose weight in some circumstances because of whether medical conditions, genetics, or whether, like you mentioned, psychological issues that are going on. So I can understand, but it doesn't make it right.
Oh, exactly. A lot of PTs and other people, they don't understand that a lot of people do have a stressful psychological time with weight loss. And I've seen PTs on Instagram say, oh, just eat less. Now, that's like telling someone who can't swim, throw them into the water and tell them, just breathe more. Like, they can't swim. They don't know how to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, my whole thing with that is I don't see the risk versus reward. You're taking medication for something you don't have. All it's doing is curbing your hunger. That's it. When you have so many negative effects. So that's my point on it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. There are a lot of negative effects, and unless you have not reached the criteria for it and it is under a medical professional, i.e. your own doctor, you really shouldn't be taking these medications because it's a quick fix. Because you can't quick fix a long-term problem. And like disordered eating is a long-term problem. Medical conditions are a long-term problem. So you can't solve that with a jab for a couple of months.
So some of the other products that I sent you as well, one of them was the underwear or clothing with microcapsulated caffeine to help burn fat. Now, what would your view be on this?
I've never heard of microcapsulated caffeine. It was the first thing that I thought when I'd said it. I think the bottom line, my basis is science, right? I like, as much as I am very holistic in my practice, I like science. So, do you know what? If you showed me a randomized control trial that compared a pair of my bog standard leggings to a pair of caffeine micro-encapsulated leggings, and there was some real good hard evidence that suggested it wasn't just a placebo effect that was improving people's perception of their body image, then maybe I would say it's okay. But actually without that, I think the other thing is to say, with any of these products, if someone is buying a weight loss product, perhaps a pair of leggings like you just mentioned, then they are going to be looking to possibly exercise and improve their relationship with fitness, exercise, healthy eating and body image.
Yeah, so like you're saying there as well, people try on the leggings and they will say, oh, I'm going to diet. And I think anything that comes on the market, if you look at all the websites, they'll all say, must be followed by diet and exercise. It's ridiculous. I think people who always say, oh, this works, it's because they've changed their diet and they've changed their exercise regime. It's simple as that. The other one I said to you was the the sonic trimmer, the body toner. So using
Yeah,
supersonic waves to sculpt fat.
Yeah, it's again, it comes down to research. Like I know we are fortunate in medicine to say that a lot of our medications come from big pharma companies who have got perhaps a lot more money to actually test these products. But if products wanted longevity in the market, because these things come and go, right? And they quickly get taken off the market. They wanted longevity in the market. If they wanted people to believe in the brand and trust the brand, then they would put money into these trials, right? To show that they would work. Rather than, I know that you mentioned during, I think it was this podcast or a previous video, just fake accounts, or this is a fake story that we made up, but it suggests, is what we suggest will happen if you use our product. Like, we can't be getting people to spend all this money on suggestions.
Yeah.
And I think, as I said, I'm all for holistic health, diet, exercise. If you want a massage, if you want to go for reflexology, great. But I think it all boils down to you can't be swayed by advertising, celebrities, and all the kind of money that they're plugging into the wrong places. If they can pay for XYZ to promote their product, they can pay for some research. Yeah. And I think I say you can't. We really can. Like, I in the past have been taken in by things and I thought, oh, are we going to do that? Am I going to do that? And actually you think, no, I'm not. So I can appreciate why people get drawn into it. And I think as someone with a normal BMI, I can appreciate people that maybe haven't got a normal BMI are like, oh, well, why is she making it sound so easy? It's not easy. I know it's not easy. I've been overweight in my time and it's not easy. It takes a complete change in your lifestyle to move forward. So I feel really sorry for people that are drawn into this. And I just hope things like your podcast will just dismiss all these ridiculous claims.
Yeah, 100%. And look, like I've been victim myself when I was younger. Like we didn't have the internet when we were growing up. Ab toners. I remember when I was a young fella, I bought an ab toner because I thought it was going to give me abs, and I was lying there shocking the life out of myself. You know, but now we have the internet. But the problem is there's so many zealots and lies on the internet. It's hard for the average person to decipher. So that's hopefully what I'm trying to do, is just tell them the facts, and that's it. Because like you're saying, I like holistic approaches on things too. But when you're in doubt, you're going to have to go by science. And
exactly.
That's what it boils down to in the end, really.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And I'm a scientific mind myself, so it just, whenever I see these things that come up, and the first thing that hit me about one of the products was the name, I was like, I just can't believe that this is being promoted with that sort of name. It's just, we're not defined. Our worth is not defined by how much we weigh. Yeah. The first thing, and it never should be, and it has been in the past. And I just feel like we're slowly moving towards, we're less talking about weight, we're more talking about mental health. And then these products come on the market, which just absolutely destroy that and destroy people's mental health because of the way that they're branded and targeted, really.
Exactly, 100%, I agree. Well, listen, look, it was great having you on. Thanks a million for taking the time to do so, because I know you're up the walls. You're an NHS worker, you're front line, so thanks a million for what you're doing, actually, because you are out there keeping us going. So thanks a million.
Thank you very much. We're doing our very best. Keeping going. I feel very lucky that I've got a job and I'm able to go out to my job, especially through lockdown. So though obviously we've been frontline, I do feel very, very fortunate in that position and able to at least help. But things are improving in certain areas, and obviously we've heard about Leicester in the past week. So I just wish everyone there the best, and I hope things will slowly improve everywhere over the coming weeks and months.
Well, hopefully. Before you head, do you want to give anyone tell people your Instagram if they want to follow you?
Yeah, thanks very much. So, as I said, I'm Dr. Sarah Bailey, but my Instagram is The Gym Medic. So that's @The Gym Medic. I post all things lifestyle, health, exercise, sport. I work in rugby as a sports medic alongside being a GP. My practice is quite holistic. I post lifestyle stuff, and I think I'm quite motivating. So if you want to be motivated, if you want to hear stuff about science, a bit like you, results-based evidence, then please head on over to The Gym Medic. Also, you can find me at www.thegymmedic.com.
Sweet. Well, you're very energetic anyways, and that's what we like to see. People who are energetic and like what they're doing.
Exactly. Everyone always says that. Never forget me, because I'm the really energetic one, especially if they meet you with my sister, who is exactly the same. So it's chaos, carnage.
Listen, thanks again for coming on, and we should talk again.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much. You
Cheers.
take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
And finally, one of the biggest scams I have seen going around for the last 3 years is the Sarah Johnson scam, or the Stanford nutritional student who lost 25 pounds with her own university money, yada yada yada. Okay, so I've done a video on this before, and this is the audio. I think everyone should actually go onto YouTube and type in Sarah Johnson scam, and my video will come up, and share it, because the more people that see it, the less people that fall into the trap. So here you go.
Alright guys, so if you're on Instagram, it's pretty hard you would have missed this story about a Stanford college student doing her Masters in Nutritional Science has developed a weight loss product that is helping people the world over and has a backstory and news stories about it, and people are sending it to me asking me to check it out. Is there any truth to it? So let's have a look. Exclusive. Meet the Stanford master student who lost 25 pounds with her university money. Her Instagram's latest viral sensation, Sarah Johnson, a master student at Stanford University, was able to drop 25 pounds of her waist in 1 month without ever using a dime of her own money. Sarah is working towards her master's degree in nutritional science. Okay, so this is my first problem. You're selling a product, Keto Ignite, but you're studying nutrition, a master's in nutrition. So that is my first problem. Someone with that kind of education doing a master's in nutritional science promoting a product that has no scientific evidence. So I went on Instagram and had a look for Sarah Johnson. Couldn't really find anything for a nutritional student on Instagram for Sarah Johnson, but I did find a Sarah Stanford. About 100 of them. Seems you've a better chance of finding a clean underpants and a bachelor pad than you will of finding out who the real Sarah Johnson or Sarah Stanford is. So let's go back to the article. In this photograph, Sarah Johnson says, "I'm overwhelmed with joy that my discovery has helped so many of you change your bodies and your lives." So who is the woman in this photograph, and did she get her results from using this product? The woman in the picture is actually a blogger called Brittany Ray. Says she lost the weight with diet and exercise. No mention of any weight loss product. Okay, so what about the next photograph in the article? That guy called Nick. As we thought, this poor guy's photograph has been stolen and put up all over the internet to promote everything from protein, weight loss products, clenbuterol, Viagra, everything. You name it, his photo's there, poor guy. In fact, every photograph used on all the Instagram pages and in that article are stolen. Taken from other people. Now let's go back and take a look at who wrote the article. It's a woman called Susan Pishner. So let's check up Susan Pishner and see what her background is and what else we can find online about her. I'm afraid Susan Pishner is imaginary. No LinkedIn profile for her, no Twitter profile. There's basically nothing on the woman. The only thing that when you type in her name, what comes up in Google is a load of other bogus weight loss. Oh, this company are just using that name to write weight loss bullshit. Anyway, let's have a look at the reviews. Surely the reviews are real. They can't really fake reviews, can they? So this lady, Kathy Barrett, has an awful lot to say about the product and how great it is and how effing awesome it is. So let's take her photograph. Let's do a bit of research. Ding, ding, ding. We have a wiener. Same picture used on a site to promote erectile dysfunction pills, and the name is changed to Brian Barrett. Fair enough, probably the husband. I hope that everyone can get the same results after me using this pill. I can have sex for an hour easily. I'm simply shocked at how well they work. Thanks for the post. Okay, Brian, thanks for sharing. What's next? And here's a different site. Now the name has changed to David Barrett. The whole family must be in this shit using the same photograph, promoting cryptocurrency. And she's back again, this time as Kathy Parrott. Never even knew about this. I am very much pleased after using it. Not to mention, it's so cheap. Another weight loss product. Wow. So there you have it, guys. That's what we call fake news. These websites will be created to splash fake stories in your face to make you believe in a product that doesn't work and there's no scientific backing to get your moolahs. And if they want to go to great lengths to deceive you, I will go to great lengths to expose them.
And that's the video. Go on to YouTube, have a look at it and share it. Now, one thing I didn't mention in this video is any of the news stories that you see about her, saying the Stanford student and all this, yada yada. Go on and look at the story and have a look at the URL or the link at top. It's usually not actually NBC or whatever news corporation they're trying to show it to be. And if you scroll down to the very bottom of the news story, Keto Ignite have a disclaimer at the bottom saying the story is fictional and made up for advertising purposes, but it's very small writing, so it's easy to miss. And that's it for the Peter Halloran podcast for this week. I kept it nice and short because I didn't want to bore anyone to death. So If you have any videos or any fat loss products you want me to check out, send them on to me. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's @PeterO'Halloran_, so you can DM me the videos there. But for this week, that's it. Bye bye.